They say nothing is certain except death and taxes. But what if death wasn't certain anymore? What if in some lab a server was blinking, not because it was running code, but because it was running a mind? What if immortality wasn't a fantasy, but a project? Welcome to the final episode of Season 2 of FactNest. And today, we're not just diving into a scientific question, we're stepping into the deepest fear and most seductive dream humanity has ever faced. Today we ask, can we live forever? But before we begin, let me tell you a story. In 2015, a 14-year-old boy named Matheryn died from brain cancer in Thailand. His family, heartbroken, made a choice. They signed him up for cryonic preservation at Altos Labs, Extension Foundation in Arizona. Today, his body and brain are frozen in liquid nitrogen, waiting for a future where science might bring him back. Was it an act of hope or denial? Was it the first step toward eternity? Matheryn is now known as the youngest person ever cryopreserved. But he's more than that. He's a symbol of a world that's no longer asking if we can beat death, but when. Part 1. The War Against Aging. Aging is no longer a passive process. It's being reverse-engineered. In labs across the globe, from Harvard to MIT to Japan, researchers are discovering that aging is not damage over time. It's biology. It's programmable, which means we might reprogram it. Let's look at what's real, right now. Yamanaka factors have reversed aging in mouse tissues. Senolytics, drugs that target zombie cells, are extending life in animals. Altos Labs, funded by Jeff Bezos, is exploring cell reprogramming. Dr. David Sinclair's lab at Harvard showed vision restoration in aged mice using epigenetic reprogramming. Now add caloric restriction mimetics, metformin trials, and telomerase activators, and the picture becomes clear. We're building the tools to slow, stop, and maybe even reverse biological aging. But here's the twist. Even if we beat aging, death still comes through trauma, disease, entropy. Which brings us to the next frontier. Part 2. The Rise of Immortality Tech. Cryonics, mind uploading, digital consciousness. These aren't dreams anymore, they're patents, startups, investment portfolios. Nectome, a startup once backed by Y Combinator, claimed it could preserve your brain in a death with dignity process, perfectly mapped for future emulation. Neuralink continues to push brain-machine interfaces that may one day download and upload neural data. Whole brain emulation is no longer just a concept paper. EU-funded projects like the Human Brain Project have built early models of digital brains. And cryonics? Alcor, Cryonics Institute, Tomorrow Bio. Hundreds of people have already chosen to freeze their bodies or brains. They're not dead. They're paused, waiting. What's emerging is a hybrid future, where biology merges with software, and identity becomes a backed-up folder. Which raises the question, if our minds can be copied and stored like files, are we still human? Or just data with memories? Part 3. The Price of Forever. What happens when death disappears? First, the obvious. Overpopulation. Socioeconomic inequality. Only the rich can afford forever. Power imbalance. Eternal leaders never replaced. But the deeper questions are harder to answer. If you can't die, do you still value life? If nothing ends, does anything still matter? Our lives are shaped by the urgency of time. We love because it's temporary. We act because it's limited. We risk because there's something to lose. Remove that, and who are we? A mind infinitely running may not feel joy. A consciousness preserved but unchanging may become something else entirely. There's also the identity paradox. If your mind is copied, is the copy you, or just a mirror? Would your digital version mourn your death? Or simply boot up, unaware that the original is gone? Immortality could bring freedom. It could also bring madness. It's not just a scientific experiment. It's an existential gamble. Would you play? I don't know. In 2011, Russian entrepreneur Dmitry Itskov launched the 2045 initiative, a real-world project that aims to transfer human consciousness into artificial bodies by the year 2045. He envisions a path where, first, humans control robotic avatars with their minds, then transfer their consciousness to a computer, finally live eternally in a non-biological form. Critics call it madness. Supporters call it the next phase of evolution. And Dmitry? He calls it salvation. This season, we pushed every boundary. We asked if genes could be rewritten, if minds could talk to machines, if memories could lie, if organs could be printed, and now, if death could be outsmarted. We don't have all the answers, but we asked the questions the future demands. Now it's your turn. Would you live forever if you could? And tell us, what do you want Season 3 to explore? Leave a comment. Leave a thought, because the future might be listening. From all of us at FactNest, thank you for walking this path with us, from the first breath to the edge of eternity. We'll see you not in the end, but in what comes after. And that's the end of Season 2 of FactNest. But this wasn't just a season about the human body. It was about you, the cells that built you, the mind that drives you, and the future that might one day rebuild you. We've explored the machines inside your blood, the power inside your bones, and the question of whether we're still human or something more. Thank you for choosing to go on this journey with us, for thinking, for feeling, for daring to imagine what we might become. We'll be back soon. But until then, stay curious, stay human, and never stop asking, what else is possible? See you soon.